Dizzy Believe in Yourself, From Beggar to Businessman, motivational story about changing your mindset. Soft, emotional background music fades in, gentle piano and distant city sounds. Sunrise introduction. Every great transformation begins not with money, luck, or education, but with a change in mindset. This is the story of a man who had nothing, no home, no food, no hope. And yet, through sheer belief and determination, built a life that inspired an entire city. This is the story of Arav, a beggar who became a businessman. A story of faith, pain, and the unstoppable power of believing in yourself. Wilted Flower Chapter 1, Life on the Streets. Arav had lived on the streets of Mumbai for nearly 10 years. Every morning, he woke to the sound of traffic, vendors, and people rushing past him. People who never looked twice. His world was a small corner near the railway station. His possessions, a torn blanket, an old tin cup, and a notebook full of dreams. He couldn't read well, but he would stare at shop signs, tracing letters with his fingers, imagining his name written one day on a storefront. But each night, as the city lights flickered above him, a voice inside whispered, "You're worthless. You'll never change." He almost believed it, until the day he met Kabir. Sun behind Small Cloud Chapter 2, The Stranger Who Saw Potential. Kabir was a retired teacher who used to walk the same street every day. He noticed Arav, not because of his rags, but because of his eyes. "Why do you sit here every day?" Kabir asked one morning. Arav replied softly, "Because I have nowhere else to go." Kabir smiled kindly. "Then start by changing where your mind goes." He handed Arav a book, The Power of Belief. Arav didn't understand all the words, but one sentence stuck with him. Greater than, if you change your thoughts, you change your world. That night, for the first time, Arav didn't fall asleep hopeless. He fell asleep thinking about change. Fire Chapter 3, The First Step. The next morning, Arav made a decision. He wouldn't beg anymore. He spent the day walking, searching, asking for work. Most doors closed on him. People mocked him, turned away. But that small voice inside, the one that used to whisper, "You can't," now said, "Try one more time." After days of rejection, a tea stall owner finally said yes. Arav's first job. Washing cups and cleaning tables. It wasn't much, but it was his beginning. He worked with focus, gratitude, and discipline. He smiled at customers, helped wherever he could, and saved every rupee he earned. For the first time in his life, he felt useful. Biceps Chapter 4, The Mindset Shift. Months passed. Arav listened to conversations around him. How people negotiated, sold, served, and earned. He realized something powerful. Money wasn't the goal. Mindset was. He began studying people, how they thought, spoke, and solved problems. He practiced reading newspapers left behind by customers. Kabir continued visiting him, bringing him books, motivation, and wisdom. Your outer world changes, Kabir said, only when your inner world grows stronger. Arav stopped saying, "I can't." He started saying, "I will learn." And slowly, he did. Seedling Chapter 5, A New Vision. After a year, Arav saved enough to buy a second-hand tea cart. He worked day and night, rain or shine. But his stall wasn't like others. He cleaned it every morning, greeted customers with a smile, and gave free tea to anyone hungry or poor. People started noticing. They didn't just come for tea, they came for his energy, his positivity. He named his stall, Umeed Chai, meaning, hope tea. Soon, he had regular customers, office workers, taxi drivers, students. He learned how to manage money, negotiate with suppliers, and plan for the future. And one day, when a journalist came by and asked for his story, Arav simply said, "I was a beggar until I believed I wasn't." The article went viral. Office Building Chapter 6, From Stall to Success. With growing recognition, Arav opened another stall. Then another. Then a small cafe. Each time, he hired people who were once homeless, giving them a second chance, just like Kabir gave him. Years later, Umeed Chai became a well-known chain across India. Arav, once a beggar, was now a businessman, mentor, and speaker. And every time he spoke to others, his message was the same. Greater than, the poorest man is not the one without money. The poorest man is the one without belief. Sunset Chapter 7, The Return. One evening, Arav returned to the place he once begged. It was empty now, just the echo of memories. He sat there quietly, holding a cup of tea, remembering the nights he slept hungry, the days he doubted himself. He smiled and whispered, "Greater than, I believed, and that belief became my strength." As he looked up, the sunset painted the city in gold. A reminder that light always finds those who refuse to stay in the dark. Crescent Moon Epilogue. The lesson. Arav's journey teaches one truth. Change begins when you change your mind. You don't need luck. You don't need permission. You just need belief. Belief that your story isn't over. Belief that failure isn't final. Belief that tomorrow can be better than today. Because every person, no matter how broken, has the power to rebuild, if they only believe in themselves. Soft music fades out. The screen shows the end. Believe. Begin. Become.